Let us now look how to add an application. We will look at viewing applications and the queries and notes left by our team where you can review the status of where it's up to at a later stage. So, application. There's the drafts, there's the dead, add application. Very similar to the quote process, but what we've got here on an application, I'm going to make it clear. It's very swift once you get used to this, but there'll be three areas particularly of information that we've got to highlight and cover that is different from the quote process. And that will be a page for company information, a page for transactional data to give us an idea of how your potential client takes their payments, and then the KYC feature. So let us have a look. Again, for this example, I'll choose merchant services. I'll go for speedy boarding. I can go for company's house lookup. And if I put an example in here, you can, of course, manually input if it's a sole trader or if you don't want to use the company's house lookup. But there we go. Let's have a look here. It's pre-populated some of the boxes that I need on the company tab. Link to lead, again, if this is not relevant for your company, you haven't got somebody internally or externally passing you the leads, you don't need to quote its ownership. We will need the trading name as well as the legal entity name. We have the date of incorporation. We have that it's a limited company. Number of employees, please cover this. And then the person of significant control. Let's say this is the primary person that you're dealing with. You are going to repeat some of their information below. But we would fill in these boxes here where relevant. For example, middle name if it's relevant. We have options for the position, email address, telephone number. You can, with the +44, leave out any zeros. Company website, if it's relevant, it's already populated. The company's house number. If you have the VAT or tax number, you can input it here. If there is not a VAT number or a number that's pending, you can, of course, fill in other information such as business confirmation. We then have a description of the industry. Plus, we can look at business types by MCC code. We will need, and you can look it up by postcode for both of these sections, the registered address plus the trading address if it is different. And we can add another trading address. You'll see here, we've got the persons of significant control. Now, something I have to point out here, because it's an easy mistake to make. If I'm filling in details for the blurred out name of the director here, I go to, as long as I don't want to remove them, I go to edit. I don't press add person unless there's another director, etc. that I'm going to need to put in the information. So let me show you. I press edit. It asks me to save. And then I can decide that this person is the person I'm dealing with. They are the main principal. They're a beneficial owner, signatory, responsible party. If it's a sole trader, of course, you're going to leave out the director, and I can use the details from above. We've got the title, first name, middle name, last name, the percentage shareholding. We can see that it's populated when they were appointed, date of birth, nationality. Choose the form of ID that you're going to upload in this section. Other KYC will be in a separate section, which I'll show you soon. If it is a passport, I need the ID number from the passport or driving license, the issuer, the issued date and expiry date. I can drag and drop or browse. My personal preference is browsing on my system. And then if it hasn't pre-populated from the information that I should have filled above, you can fill in their personal details and home information, home details here. Again, phone numbers without the zero. Again, I'll repeat, if there's another director, then that's where I add the person. Payee bank, whilst you can omit if you haven't got the IBAN and the BIC, I do need the name on the account, need that to match the information that you've put above. Account number, sort code, and name of bank. So then I press next, and we come on to the transaction side. Now, I must point out here, If there is going to be no form of e-commerce, please make that 0 and then do the mathematical calculations. These boxes must total, or the total of them I should say, must equal 100%. The target market, fairly straightforward. I need the gross, the whole projected turnover there, please. I also need what the division of that turnover would be on card. If these are estimates, they have to be pretty good estimates, but no doubt you are talking to your client and get a pretty good handle on this. What I do believe is important is to submit, as well as the ATV, the average transactional value, I need the minimum transactional value. I don't want there to be any hiccups or problems later on, plus the maximum transaction value. Very important to get this information correct, even if it means doing a bit of research yourself, going onto their website if they've got one, or some other information to see if there are any high value ticket items that haven't been disclosed to you. Refunds and chargebacks, you can estimate the daily refund percentage here and the daily chargeback percentage. Does the company take reoccurring payments? If they do, you just tick yes. If no, I can tick no here. Are the sales seasonal? If they are, I need to put the quarterly percentages and any months that they might be closed. If this isn't relevant, just click no. Does the business ever take payment, full payment up front? Again, it's a tick of yes or no. If it is yes, please tell us how long it takes for the merchant to deliver the product or service. Also, what percentage of annual turnover relates to upfront full payment. Pretty easy to work out. Now, if the business doesn't take deposits, you can move on to goods and service. But if they do take deposits, I need to know the percentage relating to the card turnover only to begin with are deposits, and what percentage of the total value of what they sell, the product, is the deposit. How far in advance is that deposit taken? And then the last point here, the time taken between your merchant taking that deposit and being able to deliver the goods and therefore the balance of payment. Goods and service. Now, this is an area that is often overlooked, and it is very important for when we submit the application to the acquiring bank. Who supplies the goods and performs the service? Excuse the terminology here. You would mean you as if it was you, the merchant, because you're filling it out, this application on behalf of them. A short description of products and services sold. I am going to do a completely silly, maybe, example here, but just to give you some context. Convenience store. I might need to put more there, I might not. There are other businesses, for example, let's say it's hairdressers that also does tattoos and takes payments for them on the same machine in the same building. I need a split to give us some context. So let's have a look here. Let's say it is groceries, tobacco, and alcohol, just to make this ridiculously simple. So let's say the groceries, we've got ATV of £15 for tobacco. Unfortunately, I don't smoke myself, but I believe they do cost around about £20 a pack these days. And let's say for alcohol, £15. That's a very expensive vice to have. I need the percentage of card turnover, but here is where you've got to keep your eyes open. Because every time I put a percentage in, if it does not equal, thus far 100%, it's going to warn me. It's going to warn me repeatedly. So let's say they do 60% of their card turnover on groceries. There you go. There's my warning. And let's say we do 20% tobacco. Again, once again, I'm warned. And 20% for alcohol. Now that equals 100%, as per the note here, you can then proceed. If cashback is not offered by the merchant, you just simply tick no. If it's yes, please give us an average amount. Now, here's an important note. American Express. Here we go. It says we have, but we will be requesting an Amex MID for your merchant. If your merchant does not wish to accept Amex, simply display it when you come to the next tab under products and fees. So you could tick no there, but if you tick yes, I am going to need the Moto MID, the Econ MID and the POS MID for Amex. Your merchant should be able to supply you with that. Accepted currencies. Do I want any others? New to merchant services, just an additional piece of information if you want to tell us that they already are with a provider. And then in terms of EPOS integration, this is particularly important, and this I feel needs a little bit of pre-screening before you proceed with a hefty EPOS integrated, or hopefully EPOS integrated product, because look here, we need some further information about the EPOS system. Plus, if it's yes, as it says here, please tell us which system above and we will endeavour, that's not a definite, but we will endeavour that the correct software is on the terminals where possible. Important to take note of that.